All right. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, depend when you're gonna watch this Facebook Live. Today I'm excited to welcome to our Facebook Live CEO of Craftsman Housing, Christian Rozo. Welcome, Christian.
Hey, Levy,
Craftsman,
thanks for having me.
you're welcome. Craftsman Housing Company specializing in providing tailored temporary housing solution across California. With a vast database of homes, tech-driven efficiency, and family and pet-friendly option, Craftsman Housing is revolutionizing the way real estate professionals find short-term accommodation as well as mid-term accommodations for their clients. From cozy studios to spacious single-family homes, they offer a diverse range of fully furnished property that can be ready for move-in within just a few business days. Christian, am I right? Is anything you want to add?
I mean, that kind of hits the nail on the head. I think you did a great job. Thank you so much.
I appreciate it. Welcome. All right, I met Christian at the MTR Summit again this year. And Christian, please tell me what were your aha moments from the MTR Summit?
Oh my gosh. I think the biggest thing was it was a challenge to try to find which presentations I wanted to be in the room listening to, and then when I needed to be outside in the hallway connecting with some important people, because there were some pretty intimate times that I came across, and I got into some really incredible rooms of people because I played the field like that. So I'm actually working with a few very big players in the corporate housing sector, the insurance housing sector, because of the rooms I was able to work my way into. I'd say that was one. The other, two different presenters talked about how there's two different levels of virtual assistants. We do use virtual employees in Craftsman Housing, and I thought it was an important distinction that they made, where you have your critical thinkers that are going to be like your most valuable players in your business. They're the ones that you're going to have in managerial type roles, leading teams of people. And then you're just going to have your doers, you're going to have your implementers. Um, I was going through a situation where uh, I couldn't see the distinction, and the way they painted the picture kind of opened up my mind to how I'm going to continue to go with scaling Craftsman Housing with our team. And yes, I guess those are two of my aha moments.
Yep, absolutely. The networking is just priceless thing. This is how I met you and then build relationship. And today you're here, more than welcome to talk about your business, how you can help people. Please tell me what inspired you to start. I guess, first of all, tell us about yourself and then what inspires you to start Craftsman Housing.
Sure, certainly. Thanks for the opportunity. So, um, before getting into real estate, I was and I am a firefighter in the Bay Area. So I signed up to help people on their worst day. I wanted to be part of solution for people when they're in tragedy and crisis. So I've been doing that for 4.5, going on 5 years now. Shortly after getting into the fire service, I was like, okay, I'm a made person. I'm a union man. I need to go get me a house. And so I moved 86 miles away after doing my research and finding out that Sacramento is the number one slated city for growth in America on a few different parameters. And I bought a value add 2 bedroom, 1 bath bungalow that I'm sitting in front of here, that led to being our first venture in real estate. It ended up being a live and flip. We spent 4 months. I spent 4 months living in this thing and remodeling it with my uncle and a team of maybe 15 subcontractors that I managed, um, to add value to this home. We bought this home for 440,000. It appraised for 575 by the time we were done with it, and that was my first taste of real estate. I jumped right in it. I read books, I listened to podcasts. I took people out in Sacramento to eat and to coffee to pick their brains and see where the path of progress was. And I landed on this home with this value add option. And I was hungry. I was hungry for more, right? So, Levy, you and I, we met at the midterm rental conference in San Diego this year, right? That
Correct.
was put on by Jesse Vasquez. I am actually a student. I'm a mentee of Jesse. I joined his mentorship in November of 2022.
I didn't know that. Okay, okay.
Yeah. So that's the whole reason why I was there. I wanted to go the first time, but my wife was we had recently just had our first child, and she made it very clear that there was no chance I was leaving, which is totally fine. And
Happy wife, happy life, right?
yeah, so I loved what Jesse taught in his mentorship in regards to how to work business to business. Obviously, his program, at least back then, was tailored for traveling healthcare professionals. And so, my next step, I decided upon joining that membership and finding people that were part of my tribe, I was like, okay, I want to do furnished housing. That's what I want to do. I don't want to do Airbnbs. I want to do business to business housing. I want to set up homes for people that they can come in and enjoy. Because, Levy, actually, I don't know if I shared this with you, but before being a fireman, I worked in luxury hospitality. I worked in hotel work. I worked for the St. Regis. I worked for the Ritz-Carlton. I worked for the Awani Hotel in Yosemite National Park, which is incredible. And so I was going to build off my background in
Yeah,
customer service
experience, correct.
and
Wow.
taking care of people. And I quickly found out the people I wanted to take care of were not traveling healthcare professionals. Not knocking anyone that does it,
Hmm.
but the homes that I put together, they didn't have single small studio units with a little kitchenette. I picked up homes that were better suited for maybe professionals with their families or maybe a team of professionals. And it just wasn't, I couldn't demand the point from these bud traveling medical professionals that I needed to make the deal work. And ring, ring, I got a call about a displaced family in Oakland. And that call literally changed my entire trajectory, my entire investment strategy, and grew this idea of Craftsman Housing. So that call was about a family that had been displaced from a home in Oakland, around the corner from where my property was in Oakland that I did rental arbitrage with. And it started as a 2-month contract to start. This family had 3 dogs and they could not find anyone to host them especially because I think 2 of those dogs were like pit bull breeds.
Hmm.
No one wanted to take this family. And I learned about, oh my gosh, wait, okay, so this family was displaced by fire. I'm a firefighter. Yeah, that makes sense. People that I help in my job need some place to go once the immediate tragedy has been stopped, and now you need to go through weeks or months of repair. And so that family was brought to me at that part of the process, at that part in their journey, and I happily took them in. That family ended up being with us for 11 months because everything under the sun that could have gone wrong with the remodel did. They got stalled by city permits. They had contractors walked off the job. People were squatting in their home. And I kept asking questions and finding out more about what they were going through and how they kept extending on a month-to-month basis. Okay, so you need flexible housing for a longer period of time sometimes. And then my second home gets booked by another displaced individual. This person literally lives a block and a half from my house here in Sacramento. And the light just went off. I was like, there's so many people that this is happening to. I serve them in my role as a firefighter. And how can I do this more? And so I started following creators on YouTube. I started diving into researching insurance relocation on ChatGPT, on Google, everything I could find. And then I started aligning myself with Airbnb operators and property managers that had portfolios of homes that they wanted access to these contracts. And I started marketing their homes on their behalf. And what started as me to providers and maybe 40 housing partners and 400 units that we market across the state of California. So to kind of wrap your question up in a bow, or my answer to your question, you asked how I got into this. It was a pivot off of a pivot, and recognizing that I could build my experience in the fire service and hospitality to connect professional housing providers to displaced families in their community. And that's what we aim to do now.
I understand. Interesting that you stayed in your area. Usually people I'm speaking with, they doing co-hosting remotely, but you decide to stay locally. Why? What is the reason?
So I think you're going to find that there's quite a few people in this space that are working in insurance housing. Absolutely fine. I have found from personal experience, it makes more sense to be known for doing something well in one region or in one state because you can provide more value to more professionals. To put it short, If I earn a relationship, I build and earn a relationship with a relocation specialist, and then they contact me because they think I'm national. Then they think I'm nationwide. They contact me. Do you have anything for Idaho? No, I'm not in Idaho. Sorry. Okay. And they call me a week later and they're like, hey, I have somebody that needs housing in Nebraska. And well, shoot, I don't have housing in Nebraska. Maybe I can go find it for this one individual claim. But if I don't find it fast enough, then I won't be of service to that person. And every time they come to me and I can't provide them anything, eventually they're going to stop coming to me. So I quickly learned I just wanted to be good in a certain sector, in a certain geographical region, and just focus on that for right now until we get our systems in such a unique, automated space that there is no need for a geographic boundary.
I love it
The
because
goal absolutely would be to expand beyond California, but until we're there, I want to stay in my lane.
I love it because people usually run after shiny objects, right? Somebody said travel nurses. Somebody said business people. Somebody said travel nomads. So you just running around and trying to accommodate and trying to do, but you stayed focused. You knew exactly what you want. You knew exactly who you want to service, and you just continue providing great service to them. Um, would you mind to go ahead and share what you have created for us today? Your
Yeah,
presentation,
certainly. And just as a little introduction to this, everybody,
please.
what I put together is a quick presentation on, I'll do my best to make it quick, a quick presentation on insurance housing. So what I recognize, a big part of my goal in this company is to educate people on this space. Insurance housing is not a scam. It's not new. It has literally been around for decades. And that being said, it was kind of under the radar until Instagram and TikTok really blew it off the charts, blew it out of the water this past year and a half. And so that's what I'm here to do about. So give me a second here. For anyone that owns a home here, if it's your own residential home, if it's a rental property, you have to have homeowners insurance. You have to have some kind of a policy that protects you and your home and your assets there. So the thing, Levy, is most people, once they buy their house, they never look at their insurance policy, right? Until maybe the minute that you need to file a claim for yourself. That's a hard truth, but it is the truth. So I'll break it down for you guys. Your policy is actually a collection of many smaller sub policies. That first one, your dwelling coverage, that's going to be the policy that's taking care of the rebuilding of your actual home, your physical structure of the house. The second one, for example, is going to be other structures that are on your property, maybe a detached garage, a detached ADU. What we're here to talk about today is loss of use. So a lot of people don't know this, but ALE Solutions, the largest relocation company in the country that works with insurance housing, they pulled their name from this specific sub policy. ALE stands for additional living expenses. And there's a couple of other policies, but this is what we're going to go ahead and focus on today. So we're going to break down what does ALE truly mean. So the additional living expenses policy is meant to take care of all those extra costs that an individual or a family would have to take on if they were displaced. Obviously, we're here to talk about temporary housing, but there's things beyond that. Let's say you get put into a hotel that doesn't have a kitchenette for a week until they can find you a temporary home. You're going to have to eat food out. You're going to have to eat meals out. You're going to have moving costs if you're bringing some belongings with you from your damaged home to your new temporary home, if there's no laundry facilities. So it goes on. This policy is to talk about all of the expenses that you would incur as a result of being displaced. Now, I think most people can imagine somebody's house catching on fire, and that's the reason for why somebody's displaced. But honestly, there are a ton of reasons that somebody could be pushed out of their home. One of the ones that people don't think of often enough is just simple water damage. Somebody leaves for vacation. I literally had this on the job as a firefighter. Family was gone for a week and a half. They were just coming back from Japan that afternoon. They hadn't even arrived yet. The neighbor called. We showed up, and there was water coming out of like seams in the exterior wall. And as I opened the mail slot in the door, it looked like something out of Jumanji because you could see water just flowing down the staircase. And what caused it? It was a sprung water connection to a toilet that had apparently been like loose for days. So
Wow.
water damage is one of those kinds of culprits that people don't think of often enough that causes incredible amounts of damage. Vehicle damage is another common one. Somebody drives their car through your front room that goes to your kitchen. Sacramento, my city that I live in, is nicknamed the City of Trees, which everyone loves until a crazy windstorm just rips through town and drops some of these old growth trees on cars, on homes. There's really a number of things that could happen. Now, when an incident occurs, there is a process, there is a journey that that individual or family needs to go down to get back on their feet and back into their remodeled, repaired home. And so I'll go ahead and break that down real quick for you. First, obviously, you had that tragic event. Let's just say a fire. Some people aren't as on top of the ball as others might be for filing a claim with insurance. You'd be surprised, like when you have your entire world turned upside down, how you may not think logically, right? And so eventually that person will get around to calling their insurance, and their insurance rep will help them with filing a claim. So that claim is going to be assigned to an insurance adjuster. That person is going to be the individual that is taking care of that family for the duration of the process on the insurance company side. They're going to be evaluating the extent of the damage. They're going to be sending people in person to verify that all the damage you're saying exists does actually exist and is legitimate. So there are a lot of people that are involved in this process of insurance housing. The first is the insurance agent. Now, this is going to be like your sales type person that you bought the insurance policy from when you and your partner were looking for a house. Surprisingly enough, your insurance company is not the company that's going to take care of your insurance claim and find you temporary housing. They're going to get you in contact with the claims adjuster at their insurance company. And that claims adjuster is going to put you in contact with the relocation specialist at a company that insurance agency has probably partnered with. Companies like ALE Solutions, CRS Temporary Housing, Alacrity, formerly known as THD, and other ones. And why they do this is because an insurance company's job, that agent's job, is to sell policy plans. It is not to act upon them when the call comes in. So they search for comparable housing and the payment of that housing to those insurance relocation companies. And then finally, of course, we can't forget about our contractors, our boots on the ground that are actually restoring the homes for those families. So there's quite a few people with their hands in the pot, which explains why communication can be slow. Also explains why there's multiple reasons a claim can fall through, because you have to be approved by multiple rounds of people. There has been a lot of talk, especially I think it happened in like last November, about furnished versus unfurnished housing. So do you
Correct.
remember, Levy, how I talked about insurance housing has been around for decades?
Mm-hmm.
How do you think insurance found housing for their clients when there was no Airbnb? So I'm talking pre
How?
2015. What do you think they did to find housing?
We probably had like this what do you call this old way to find phone numbers.
Well,
A Rolodeck,
yes, I mean,
Rolodeck, right?
they did have a Rolodeck, yeah. The internet existed before 2015, but Airbnb really came on the scene in about 2015 and the years before that. There were always vacation homes available. Vacation homes have been around forever, but one place for them all, for furnished housing options to all be in one place, united, the way Airbnb and Furnished Finder have done that, there wasn't really a place. So these relocation companies were always accustomed to being in the business of renting unfurnished homes and working with furnishing companies, huge furnishing companies, to furnish those specific to their clients' needs and get them booked. But because Airbnb came on the scene and made furnished housing accessible across the country and even the planet, these relocation companies became more open to the option of expediency in just renting a furnished house. But what's happening as of late? The power of community. People like Jesse Vasquez, Ruben Kanya, Rachel Gainsborough, they're on the webs, they're on the interwebs talking about the dollar amount that you can drive for your furnished home specific to insurance housing. Well, what do they say about rising tides? And, everyone rises on a tide, everyone in a boat rises on a tide. As everyone becomes educated to this, everyone starts charging more for their furnished properties to insurance relocation companies. And last November, we saw the result because of the masses of people that were submitting their homes to these relocation companies with elevated price points. It forced ALE Solutions, the largest insurance relocation company in the country, to put more emphasis back on housing because it was hurting their bottom line, which I'm sorry, I think that is incredible. Just from a community standpoint, that we forced a giant company to change or alter how they do business.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, coming back to my slide and my digressions, there is still a need for furnished housing. I'm still doing business with furnished homes. November, December, January, like they were pushing really hard the unfurnished housings, and then it kind of went back to business as normal. So what are the factors that dictates if a company is going to use furnished or unfurnished? There's a few things. These are not comprehensive, but length of stay is a huge one. Does this person need a house for just a month, 2 months? There's a stronger chance that relocation company is just going to look for something that's furnished. But if it's 6 months or longer, even if they don't tell you it's going to be 6 months as the homeowner, if they know it's going to be 6 months or longer, depending on the company, they may automatically seek out unfurnished housing because they have partnerships. They have strategic alliances with these furnishing warehouse companies that they have to keep greasing their palm. They have to keep bringing them business. And it's better for their price point to rent an unfurnished house at a lower dollar amount and then rent the furnishings and then charge a different kind of premium on top of that to the insurance company.
Understood.
So length of stay is going to be a huge one. The level of urgency. Someone, and I've seen people lose their homes to fire because of my role as a firefighter. If someone loses all their belongings, they have nothing, they're going to need a temporary house as soon as possible. That may not allow for an unfurnished type model. But let's say I mentioned Sacco tree falls. Maybe a tree falls like over your garage, bedroom, and a bathroom, but you still have access to the kitchen and another bedroom and another bathroom. That family has time that they can wait to find the appropriate house that will really suit their needs, because maybe they're restricted by school district or a job location. So how urgent that family needs to move is a big factor. And then ultimately, price point. And we're going to get into price point in a little bit here, but how much policy does that tenant have access to, and how much temporary house can they afford? If it's a major metropolitan market and they don't have a strong insurance policy, they may have to go the unfurnished route and just get very modest rented furnishings. Every company,
I'm looking at my insurance right now from last year. It says loss of use $120,000. Will I be able to live as a king?
I guess it depends. So I think you have a strong chance of it. Let's remember a few things. You live in San Diego, which is a very expensive market. What kind of a house? How many beds and baths do you have?
4 beds, 3 bedrooms.
So four bedrooms in the San Diego market can easily go over 10,000 a month. So then a question to remember is length of stay. Are you displaced for 2 months, or are you displaced for 6, 12 months? That's largely going to dictate how much you can spend. And I'll get into the if you can live like a king in just a few slides here, okay?
Okay, go ahead.
All right. So the main differences in furnished and unfurnished, it's going to come down to just these points. How flexible of a stay does that company need? Um, does the company want to provide a bit more of an all-inclusive package by providing furnishings that are very tailored to that family? For example, maybe it's a family that has tons of kids, or it's a family with multiple generations in the same household. So instead of having a queen bed in every bedroom, they need like sets of twins or bunk beds for multiple kids.
Mm-hmm.
And then it ultimately comes down to what is that family's needs, right? So I want to talk about the savings that an insurance company can experience when they book a furnished home versus putting a family into a hotel room. All right, there's a lot of words on the screen. I apologize. But very simply put, if you're looking at some of the main factors that go into a family's stay, we're going to assume this family has 2 adults, 2 kids. They're only going to stay in one room, okay? But this family has 2 pets. If they're staying in a hotel room, well, maybe that hotel is not pet friendly, but because of the location of where they're displaced from, they don't have another option for a hotel. So not only are you paying for the hotel room, but you're paying for boarding both of those pets. And we're just assuming $50 a night. It could easily be upwards of that depending on where you are in the country. That hotel room you're staying in, or the family is staying in, does not come with a kitchenette. So that family is eating out every single day. And we're going to assume costs for gas, because that hotel isn't necessarily super close to the family's house. And there's also laundry costs. So to stay in a hotel room really costs going to be $445 because you're staying in a hotel room that is not pet friendly, that does not have laundry on site, or maybe does have laundry on site, but it comes to a cost.
Mm-hmm.
That does not have a kitchenette, so they have to eat out. Versus a home which may charge a higher price point. And I understand some homes may charge much more than $200. This is just an example. Maybe they're charging a one-time pet fee that's spread over the course of the month versus um, a pet boarding situation. And let's remember, families want to stay together. You don't want to break up families.
Yep.
Animals and pets are part of the family. I don't
Big
care
time.
what you say. You can't tell a family that their dog is not part of their family. They're going to have huge savings on their eating because they're able to cook their meals inside of your fully stocked kitchen. Laundry is going to be very cheap on site. Gas, wear and tear, the temporary home is closer to their actual home. So over the long run, the total daily cost for a furnished home is going to come out to $238 in this very simple example. Okay, so over the cost of a month, it makes sense why an insurance company would want a furnished home over a hotel. That's just from a dollars price point. That's not even from the perspective of the family. If you stay in a hotel with your family for a few days, it's fun. But after a few days,
Yep.
you start missing that space. You start missing that backyard you have access to off the back door.
I know the
You,
feeling. I know the feeling because, sorry to interrupt. A couple of years ago, I was assigned to move to London with my family to build a team there. And we stay in the hotel while we're waiting to get our location, our place, right? Back and forth, when coming back to San Diego or going back to London. And let me tell you, it was challenge to stay in a one-bedroom hotel with two crazy boys that running around and doing crazy stuff. They need space, they need to be outside, and then very small kitchenette, if at all, not even kitchenette, just one refrigerator, and we ate outside. So I totally agree with you on this slide.
yeah, the the, the allure fades quickly. So
Yes.
not just from a dollar perspective, but also from the family's perspective, it's better for the family to be put into a temporary furnished home. So, you asked me earlier, can I live as a king?
Yes.
I'm here to tell you, maybe.
Hmm.
I guess it depends on how you would explain what a king is. Well, let me tell you what insurance is going to say. The entire point of the ALE policy, the additional living expense policy, is to try to return a displaced family to a sense of normalcy as soon as possible. And the way they do that is making sure that there is equivalence. That's a very big word for this
Mm,
sentence.
mm.
They're trying to make sure that the living situation is as close to what they are coming from as possible, right? It's equivalent to their actual home. So, for example, you live in a 4-bedroom, three
Mhm.
bath in San Diego. San Diego is huge. I recognize that. But if you and your family were displaced, the insurance company would not try to squeeze your family into a 2-bedroom bungalow, right? Um, and maybe they'd find you a 4-bedroom, but it's in Carlsbad. It's 30, 45 minutes away. Not going to be an option for you because that would significantly impact your just day-to-day life with
Yep.
your family, with your kids, because of all the traveling you would have to do. So, a really important thing we have to remember with insurance housing, and this is why I tell people it's so circumstantial, and I cannot guarantee you that I will have a need for you and your beautiful, well managed home anytime soon, because the insurance relocation company's job is to find a comparable home
Mhm.
within 5, maybe 10 miles of the location the family was displaced from, that is available as soon as possible with no gaps in the calendar, whose price points can fit into the insurance policy of that family. There's a lot of stars that need to align for your house and that family to come together. And that's what we do our best to do, is bridge that gap with Craftsman Housing and all the properties we have in our database. That's why we try to make sure that we have housing for people that are displaced from studios, condos, townhomes, single family homes, because in my role as a firefighter, I don't get to dictate who I'm helping. I
Mhm.
respond to the call when the call goes out, and I want to be able to respond to the call in my business for as many families as possible, regardless if they come from a luxury home or a more modest home, if they come from the better side of the freeway or the not so great side of the freeway, a smaller
Understood.
rental or a larger home. Um, I want to be able to provide access to professionally managed temporary housing for these families, which is why we need access to as large an inventory as possible to provide these homes. So,
Speaking of which,
yes, sir.
how does someone joins Craftsman Housing Network and what are the requirements?
Sure. So, on our
Uh,
website, you can find us at
Sorry,
www.craftsman. Yeah,
Christian, are you continue sharing, or if not, you can stop because this way we can see your face and my face.
got it. I think I have just another
Oh, okay.
slide or two here.
So go ahead, finish the slides, and then you can answer the question if it's okay.
Perfect. So, um, here's a look at the majority of the costs that
Mm,
you might be able to charge somebody or somebody's insurance for staying with you, right? The terms, the fees, obviously the monthly rent, refundable deposit, um, pet fees, administration fees. Depending on your kind of home, um, there's quite a few things that you can make sure that you get covered. And this is one of the things that is so important to talk about, because when you're booking direct, when you're booking business to business, you or we at Craftsman can negotiate all this on your behalf. Versus if insurance is reaching out to you on Airbnb, whatever you have on your page is like all you can work with. And good luck trying to pull that individual opportunity, that lead off the platform, because a lot of times families just want to work at the convenience. I have tried to pull families off the platform or individuals, and I have lost them because once they found out I had to start doing background checks, or they had to sign a lease, or um, they needed to have their convenience taken away, those opportunities vanished. So when you are working direct, you have options for how you can do business, and you'd be surprised at how many things are negotiable. So these are some of those things.
understood.
Oh, and there was supposed to be a final screen here. Allow me a moment.
No problem.
Okay, you can see that screen now.
I can see mastering ALE.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yep. So, the whole point of this presentation was I wanted to do my best to explain what is insurance temporary housing. Who are we serving when we're talking about displaced families? What does it even mean to be displaced? And then understanding that the journey that an individual or family goes on to eventually get back on their feet and into their home, it is a long one. It is a stressful one. And that's why I always try to make sure to stress how empathetic we have to be towards these individuals, these families, and their current situation. Um, you may not always get great, expedient communication from the families. Uh, they are not the best version of themselves. And remember, literally anyone can be displaced. So that means people that are financially prepared for that type of a situation and others that aren't. People that have good credit scores and people that don't have great credit scores. But you have to remember the insurance relocation company is one that is guaranteeing the payment for the length of that stay that that family is in your home, at least up to the point that maybe the policy runs dry. But just remember, we're trying to be part of the solution for these families in need. You can drive a premium top dollar for your home, get rid of all of the short turnovers and multiples of guests from Airbnb, have the protection of a lease and a background check so you know who you're serving and hosting. And who you're serving and hosting is going to literally be a member of your community because they're going to be somebody within 5 to 10 miles of your home. Like I said, I am currently housing a neighbor of mine from a block and a half away in a property I directly manage here in Sacramento. And I was hosting him since August. He just moved out 2 days ago. So top dollar, you're doing a good thing, and you have protections in place. The power of insurance housing is huge.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm learning so much. Thank you. Thank you for that. We have 5 minutes left, no questions yet. So if you can answer my question, how does someone join your network, and then what are the requirements, please?
Absolutely. So if you were to go to our website, www.craftsmanhousing.com, you're going to see that there is a button in the top part of the page that says join us. Now, I like to make sure that whoever is going to work with us, and I guess I'll go ahead and share my screen again here. So
Are you still
I
sharing?
can
I
show
can
you.
see your presentation still.
Yes.
Yes.
1 second. All right, here we are. So we're on my homepage. This is our website, craftsmanhousing.com. You click on join our network and you scroll down to the very first step. I just want to make sure that anyone and everyone that wants to work with us understands completely the expectations. They know what insurance housing is and who it serves. And they understand that if they want to be a housing partner, that there are expectations in place of working with us. I'm not so stringent on the kind of home you offer, as long as it is a home that you professionally manage. It is fully furnished. We can work with unfurnished properties as well, but if it's fully furnished, you have everything in place to run it as a successful Airbnb. Consumables to take care of the tenant or the family for the first week. You have linen, towels, multiples of those. Remember how I mentioned I want to serve as many people as possible, so it does not need to be a luxury home. I just want to stress that.
Understood.
Moderate level type homes, modest type homes are okay. What's more important to me is that you are professional in how you operate. And when I call you with a need, you work quickly with me to be part of the solution for that family, because that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to help rehome families within 5 business days, sometimes faster if the relocation company is really on it. So you'll schedule a call with me afterwards. Once you want to move forward, you just come back to this page and list with us here, and you can submit your properties that way. For every property you submit, you will get a confirmation to your email sent to you in case you have any questions. And myself and my team are available over email, call, text, contact form on the website for your questions.
Understood. Thank you. Thank you so much. I guess I took some notes. One thing that you can prevent water damage when you go on vacation, you can just shut off the water pipe, right? But again, if it's in a
Totally.
colder state, what happened if the pipes can freeze? I'm not sure about that, if you should or not. And then also take care of the trees around your house, also just to minimize the damage. Christian, I appreciate your time. I appreciate your knowledge. Again, I learned a lot from you today. We'll be in touch. I'm looking forward to bring you back again if you have anything new coming.
Perfect. Love you. I look forward to the opportunity. Thank you for having me here on the show. This is actually my first time doing something like this. So this is
You did
it's a huge
amazing.
honor for me. I appreciate it.
You did amazing. Thank you so much. Have a great weekend.
All right. You too.
Bye.